In our headlines tonight, state government dismisses media reports insinuating that Governor Biano is supporting presidential candidate of another political party. Today is World AIDS Day. New terror group takes over Sokoto community, imposes levies on residents. And on the foreign scene, North Korea soldier defects to South Korea in spite of reconciliation moves. Good evening, glad to have you join us tonight. My name is Maureen Stone Enujoke. State government has dismissed media reports insinuating that Governor Willow Biano is supporting presidential candidate of another political party. A statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. Sidon Adinuba, said Governor Biano, as the chairman of the Board of Trustees of All Progressives Grand Alliance and leader of the party, has great responsibilities to work for the success of his own political party candidate. The statement noted that unlike two previous presidential elections, when ABGA has no candidate and was constrained to form an electoral alliance with ruling party, the party now has very credible presidential candidates. According to the statement, ABGA presidential candidate retired General John Bohr has exceedingly impressive qualifications, including a doctorate degree, and will formally launch his presidential campaign on December 8, 2018 in Oka, and noted that many Nigerians expect him to win because he has the best credentials, temperament, and vision for the office of the president of the country. It said in addition that ABGA has remained the only development-oriented party in the country that cuts across religious and tribal divide, noting that General Bohr's vision is to make Nigeria a role model to developing countries across the globe. The state made it clear that Governor Biano will work closely with General Bohr in the electioneering campaign to achieve the desired goals. World AIDS Day was designated by the United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS (UNAIDS) to raise awareness on the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of the HIV infection and mourn those who have died of the disease. Government and health officials, non-governmental organizations, and individuals around the globe observed the day, often with education on AIDS prevention and control. From the records, as of 2017, AIDS has killed between 28.9 million and 41.5 million people worldwide, and an estimated 36.7 million people are said to be living with HIV, making it one of the most important global public health issues in recorded history. Speaking with ABS Queen Anibogu, an official of the Family Health International in Anambra State, Mr. Emeka Amuta, said the diagnosis of AIDS is not a death sentence, as there was antiretroviral ART drugs that help in the treatment of the disease. Mr. Amuta called on all who are yet to know their HIV status to do so, and disclosed that about 25,000 people access HIV treatments in Anambra State at 3 months interval, while identifying fear and stigma as some of the reasons people refuse to go for HIV tests. Mr. Amuta reassured that the state government is supporting the fight against HIV/AIDS at all levels. In his remark, a volunteer ART official at one of the state government hospitals who refused to be identified said that at the hospital they attend to up to 3,000 AIDS patients on a monthly basis, and advised parents whose adopted children are HIV positive not to reject them, but to still go ahead and care for them as their own biological children. Although getting an HIV test is quick and painless, many people still put it off because of fear and stigma. However, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, recommends that everyone between the ages of 13 and 64 gets tested for HIV at least once as part of routine health care. The center mentioned ways through which the disease can be contracted to include sex, sharing of needles or syringes, or other equipments used to prepare drugs for injection with someone infected with HIV. It also noted that HIV can spread from mother to child during pregnancy, birth, or breastfeeding. According to CDC, the bottom line is that whether positive or negative, HIV testing is a positive step. The 2018 Bar Week of the Nigeria Bar Association Awka branch has commenced with a call on lawyers to be promoters of honesty and peace. The State Chief Judge, Justice Peter Umadi, made the call while declaring open the week. Ekwajide was there and now reports.
Declaring open the 24th Law Week with the theme, Separation of Powers for Sustainable Democracy, Justice Umadi charged legal practitioners to always apply decency in their practice. He decried the attitude of some legal practitioners who, according to him, have no respect for the rule of law and called for attitudinal change.
I am proud of you, and I want you to maintain that. And I want you to continue to try and become better than the premier bar. In
a remark, the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Ujunwogu, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Theresa Obiekwe, said that the state government is committed to ensuring that justice prevails at all times. On his part, Professor Ofonze Amuchazi of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, who was a guest speaker at the event, maintained that democracy thrives in certain fundamental assumptions, which include the principles of separation of power amongst the three arms of government, total obedience to the rule of law, respect for citizens' rights and liberties, among others.
Related and mutually reinforcing principles guard against arbitrary and capricious exercise of power and protect citizens from abuse.
Earlier, the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Awka branch, Mr. Gabriel Moneke, and the chairman on the occasion, Professor Iluchoka for SAN, described democracy as a system where all aspires to evolve and sustain a decent society in all ramifications.
I congratulate every member of the Awka Bar for our commitments to the project of Awka Bar, which commitments are driven by our collective resolve and zeal to make the Awka Bar of today greater than the Awka Bar of yesterday.
Democracy is not an end to itself. Democracy is a means to an end.
In Awka, Ekwi Ajide, ABS News.
The 6th annual conference of the Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers, CHAPOL, has ended in Awka with a call on students to shun all acts capable of derailing them from paths of moral rectitude. This year's conference, with the theme Separated from the Crowd, attracted students of the 257 public secondary schools in Anambra and other nearby states. Correspondent Theophilus Sukoha is standing by with the reports.
The Executive Chairman, Post-Primary School Service Commission, PPSSC, Lady Joy Olase, charged students to shun all immoral tendencies as it will deter them from becoming the expected exemplary leaders of tomorrow. Lady Olase commended members of the Chaplain Corps Policing Explorers, CHAPOL, Anambra State Command, for their pragmatic efforts on instilling moral values on students and for contributing immensely to the reduction of moral decadence and other social vices among students in Anambra State.
To know how to shut bad company, that's association. To know how to stand up in the crowd while others are doing what is wrong, you are there. You remember that you always do what is right, regardless of who is doing the wrong thing. And you have learned also to shun cultism. Because these are what are prevalent in our different schools.
On her part, the Permanent Secretary, Post-Primary Schools Management Board, Enugu State, Evangelist Favor Ogwani, while talking on the topic, the effect of cultism in our society, said no cultist lives long enough to impact positively to the society. Quoting Exodus chapter 23, verse 24, emphasized the dangers of cultism to include untimely deaths, living in fear, and other social vices.
The reason why so many of you should not venture into that in your school is because not just that you are the pension and gratuity of the parents. You know, you can brag, you are strong, you are courageous. So they have their choice of people most of the time. You was able to escape them, school in that school. Instead of joining them, He won souls unto Christ.
Other speakers, Pastor Mrs. Ivi Ugoma Amobi, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Anambra State on Tertiary Education, Dr. Gloria Ogogwa, and her counterpart on Secondary Education, Dr. Paul Ifani, challenged the students to always be identified by their good deeds. The chairman on the occasion, Mr. Humphrey Gonadi, in his speech, chronicled the road to success in life as hard work, self-sacrifice, dedication, and honesty.
Wealth is knowledge and wisdom imparted. That's what every wealthy man. See, I can take you to wherever you want to be in life is the amount of knowledge you gather. And how do you gather the knowledge in school?
Earlier in his address, the State Commander, Chaplain Corps Policing Explorer Chapol, Mr. Joseph Ekunife, explained the journey of the Corps since 2013 to include efforts to combat and possibly eradicate moral decadence and other social vices among students of public schools in the state, and appealed to government and other stakeholders for more financial support in their mandate to build a moral society. This year's conference had in attendance representatives of Chairman Anambra State College of Pentecostal Bishops, Chairman Christian Association of Nigeria CAN, among others. Theophilus Okoa reporting for ABS News.
The Nigerian Medical Students Association, NIMSA, has convened a symposium on the future of medicine at the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University Teaching Hospital, OKA, in line with programs to mark its 42nd General Assembly. The theme of this year's event is New Horizons and Frontiers, the World Beyond Medicine. Ushe filed the reports.
At the event, Chairman of the occasion, Dr. Emmanuel Monago, who is the chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, Anambra State Chapter, attested to the numerous medical breakthroughs in the medical research and charged the students to think of new ideas that will improve the medical profession.
This is a sort of anesthesia that, is individually controlled. And these are things that are coming up new, and we must get abreast with these developments.
The national chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Francis Faduyo, represented by Dr. Ofem Enang, urged the students not to limit themselves, stating that they can achieve anything if they are bold and fearless.
There's a world beyond medicine, and we need to bust the myth that tends to cocoon and keep medical doctors, medical students in some kind of cul-de-sac.
The Vice-Chancellor of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University, Professor Greg Wankobi, represented by the Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Matthias Anyanti, in a brief remark, welcomed the students warmly and charged them to be law-abiding.
I welcome all of you to today's NIMSA occasion. Thank you all.
Presenting a lecture, a guest speaker, Professor Frank Akwaka, urged the students not to be rigid in choosing areas of specialty, as everyone cannot be in one area, and charged them to consider family medicine and psychiatry as areas of specialty, for it is being neglected by Nigerian doctors and is an area that is of great need. Earlier, speaking in a welcome note, the host president of NIMSA, Mr. Stanley Obi, thanked the students who journeyed from across the federation to be part of this assembly. Also speaking, a major pharmaceutical sector executive, Dr. Foster Ihejofo, who spoke on medicine and entrepreneurship, cautioned the students to always have a winning attitude, stressing that character is their greatest asset. Other dignitaries that attended the events were the State Commissioner for Health, represented by the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Health, Mrs. Kate Edozie, and the ABGA State Chairman, Sir Norbert Obi. In Oka, Ushe reporting for ABS News.
The residents of Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State have opened up on why an armed group is currently imposing compulsory levies on them and punishing the defaulters. Reports broke out on Friday that some armed group carrying sophisticated weapons is currently in control of the council by applying strange laws and punishing defaulters. A resident of the area, Malam Bello Tangaza, who spoke on the development, said that the armed group was invited by the leaders of the communities a few months ago. He said that though only 10 members of the armed group were invited for security purposes, but they have ended up mobilizing others to terrorize the communities. Another resident who pleaded anonymity said the group, who are Arabic in nature, were nationalities of Mali, Libya, and Sudan. The local government information officer, Bala Ibrahim Gidan Madi, confirmed that the State Police Commissioner, Alhaj Murtala Mani, has visited the communities as part of efforts to beef up security measures. Also, Sokoto Police spokesperson Cordelia Nwawe confirmed to journalists in Sokoto that the police would address the media as soon as Commissioner returned from the area. The Director General of Media and Publicity to the State Governor, Malam Abubakar Shekara, had earlier confirmed the reports on behalf of the state government. However, the Nigeria Police Forces said the people sighted between Sokoto and Niger border were not bandits but herders from Mali, their wives and children with their cattle, camels, and donkeys. The Director General Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, says the investment so far recorded in the federal government savings bond is below expectations. Oniha revealed this while speaking during a panel session on pathways to inclusive growth in Africa, digital finance, financial literacy, inclusion, and the democratization of wealth at the 2018 African Securities Exchanges Association Conference in Lagos. She said the FGN savings bond was introduced to promote financial inclusion and attract small investors into the markets. According to her, 10.5 billion naira has been made from the bonds, as the DMO was able to attract 13,200 retail investors to invest in the securities. She said more investors were expected as the DMO spent a lot of money on television and radio advertisements and awareness creation. Oniha noted that a lot of investors pulled out of the capital market after the 2008 market crash, adding that there was a lot that was needed to be done to attract them back to the market. She added that there was a need to build investors' confidence in the market by being transparent and improving corporate governance. A North Korean soldier has defected to South Korea on Saturday across the heavily fortified land border, which the two sides have begun to demilitarize as relations between the Cold War-era foes warmed, the South military said. The rare defection came as the two Koreas push ahead with the process of reconciliation in an effort to ease tensions despite talks between Pyongyang and Washington on the North's nuclear weapons program stalling. The incident did not trigger any gunfire, unlike last year when a North Korean soldier ran across under a rail of bullets from his own side. The JCS gave no further details, such as the exact location of the defection, the soldier's name, rank, or unit, or whether he was carrying a weapon. The last defection involving North Koreans occurred in May, when two civilians aboard a small boat fled to the south across the Yellow Sea. In November last year, a North Korean soldier drove to the heavily guarded border at speed and ran across under fire from his own comrades. He was hit multiple times in the dramatic defection at Pampunjom, Truce Village, a major tourist attraction and the only place on the frontier where forces from the two sides come face to face. 3 other soldiers reportedly crossed the land border last year in separate incidents. In 2012, a North Korean soldier walked unchecked through rows of electrified fencing and surveillance cameras, prompting Seoul to sack 3 field commanders for a security lapse. More than 30,000 North Korean civilians have fled their homeland since the peninsula was divided at the end of the 1950-1953 Korean War. Most flee across the porous frontiers with neighboring China, and it is very rare for them to cross the closely guarded inter-Korean border, which is fortified with minefields and barbed wires. Sports news. Super Eagles players Alex Iwobi, Ahmed Musa, and Odio Igalo have been named in the 34-man nomination list for the 2018 CAF African Player of the Year award. The CAF award ceremony is scheduled for January 8, 2019 in Dakar, Senegal. The list, which has only one goalkeeper, Cameroon's Andre Onana, is made up of mostly midfielders and forwards. Current Africa Player of the Year Mohamed Salah and his Liverpool teammates Sadio Mane and Naby Keita were also included in the list for the award. Other notable names on the list are Gabon's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Algeria's Riyad Mahrez, Mehdi Benatia of Morocco, Wilfred Zaha of Ivory Coast, Thomas Partey of Ghana, Idrissa Gueye of Senegal, Tunisia's Wabi Kaziri, Percy Tau of South Africa, and Denis Onyango of Uganda. In the women's category, current African Women's Player of the Year Azizat Oshoala, along with teammates Francisca Odega, Onome Ebi, and Desire Okparo-Nozie, topped the 15-woman list for the award. Others in the list include South Africa's Christina Klagtana and Captain Jenny Van Wyk, Cameroon's Marilis Ngo Ndumbok, Raisa Fejudo, Gail Engamote, and Gabriel Abudu Ogene. Ghana's Portia Bouquet, Abdullahi Mukarema, and Elizabeth Ado, Malawi's Tabitha Shawiga, and Mali's Basira Tor. Eagles coach Gennett Rowe was named in the 10-man shortlist for the men's coach of the year, while Falcons coach Thomas Deneby will compete against 4 others, including South Africa coach Desiree Ellis of the women's coach of the year. In the 6-man shortlist for the young player of the year, Eagles midfielder Wilfred Ndidi was named alongside Onana, Morocco's Achrafi Hakimi, and Mahmoud Behalib, Senegal's Ismail Assar, and Frank Casey of Ivory Coast. The Super Eagles didn't make the list for the men's national team of the year, but the Falcons will battle Cameroon, South Africa, Ghana, and Mali for the women's national team of the year. Family members, friends, and well-wishers gathered at Mojeku family in Akamili Umudim, Newi North local government area to pay final respects to late barrister Wilfred Ejike Mojeku, as his remains were laid to rest. Late Wilfred Ejike Mojeku, who died at the age of 95, lived what the family members described as a fulfilled life, and is survived by children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, cousins, among other numerous relations. Correspondent Valentine Maduga was at the burial for the ABS. His report.
Some of the dignitaries who attended the burial include the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Nkemu Okeke, members of the Nigeria Bar Association, staffs of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Dennis Memorial Grammar School Old Boys, bishops of the Anglican Communion, and the Archbishop Emeritus, Province on the Niger, Maxwell and Ikwenwa, among others. In our sermon during the burial service, the Bishop of Isako Diocese, Right Reverend Jacob Babajide Olajide Baba, called on Christians to always live according to the teachings and commandments of God, as according to him, there is no prior information as at when death will come.
Life is a journey. Every journey has a beginning. Whatever has a beginning certainly will do what? Will have an end. Your existence is to glorify God. The purpose for making you, God wants you to fulfill it in your family, in your community, in the church of God, and in your generation.
In a condolence message, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Oka Branch Controller, Mr. Chuk Sokari, and his Owerri counterpart, Mrs. Georgina Wankwo, called on the family members to remain faithful to God and uphold the legacies of their late father by living in peace and harmony. For the children of the late Wilfred Mojeku, including his son, Mr. Ejike Mojeku, and his daughter, Chizoba Mojeku, their father was an icon and epitome of humor, whom they will forever miss. They, however, appreciated all their friends and relatives who came from far and wide to sympathize with them and prayed for their safe return back to their respective homes.
Fadalo. Ndị ga-emelụ fa Chukwu na ga-edobe fa n'ụzọ. Fa ma na-enwe nsogbu ọsọsọ efe aṅụle ka anyị ga na-akpụ iru.
The event featured condolences by associates, friends, in-laws, and well-wishers, and also music, as well as cultural dances. From Akamili Umudim in Nnewi North local government area, Valentine Mbadowa reporting for ABS News.
Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like I said, www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go, a recap of the main points. State government has dismissed media reports insinuating that Governor Biano is supporting presidential candidate of another political party. Today is World AIDS Day. New terror group has taken over Sokoto community, imposes levies on residents. On the foreign scene, North Korea soldier has defected to South Korea in spite of reconciliation moves. And that's it on our news for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I am Maureen Stone Enujoke. Good night.